first of all. Let's start with the documentary itself and the Pendleton 2.
Okay.
Start with what happened, in your opinion, to them.
They call me TheKingTrill. And I'm just another black man who's done a long time in prison. So as you can imagine, I already know about the oppression and injustice of the system. But all too often, the injustice and brutality are so blatantly in your face that sometimes you feel like you can't breathe. In fact, I was in prison when I watched George Floyd murdered by an arrogant killer on live television. And instantly I was reminded of how dangerous this country is for people who look like me. But then I thought about the other people who happen to be in the unfortunate position of having to stand there and watch as a man dies. And this is not to judge anyone. I mean, who could possibly know the proper protocol on how to proceed when police kill common people right in front of our very eyes? But nevertheless, I wondered, what would I have done? Could I have just stood there while a man with more similarities to me than differences is killed in the street? But regardless of the outcome, I still asked myself that question. And I had to be honest. I realized that I truly didn't know if I had the courage to risk my life to save another. That is a special kind of courage of which I wanted to see an example. And I found it. In fact, I found it specifically in two men who risked their lives to save the life of a friend.
February the 1st, 1985, me and my co-defendant, John Cole, we were where we were supposed to be, which was on the lockup unit at that time, going to a CAB hearing. And there was a disturbance on the lockup unit. The first thing we noticed was the smell of mace. And then that I had already served time on the lockup unit, I knew what that meant, especially when the curtain was pulled. I knew that there was some form of terrorism going on. We had to create an organization in order to combat the infrastructure of white supremacy inside the reformatory. And that organization consisted of raising the consciousness of prisoners, organizing, educating prisoners to form a self-defense committee. Because that was the only defense that we had. It was the Black Dragon.
What the Black Dragon really was standing for, too, is this. You know, a lot of us had knew each other from the streets. You see what I'm saying? At a young age. So if you come into prison and you ain't got no help from your family, we would get together and get what we call care packages. You know, we get together, you know, I throw in $10 worth of commissary. This person throw in something, you know what I mean, to make sure, you know, because you're just coming in, so you're going to need soap, you're going to need deodorant, you know, you're going to need et cetera, et cetera. So we was trying to touch each other like that, too.
We were a new breed of prisoners, you know, we were the political side, you know,
We understood, colonialism, and we just had a whole different mindset, and what everybody else was going for, we wasn't going for. And, that probably led to them singling my brother out, Lincoln Love, and beating him like they did.
Why does it always feel like black people have to fight 2, 3, even 10 times harder than the average person just to get the decency that we deserve as human beings? They can never just give it to us because it's the right thing to do. We always gotta force their hand. But if I wanted to know more about the courage of the Pendleton too, I had to start at the beginning. What is your relationship with Mr. Cole?
He's my cousin. My mother and his mother are sisters.
Can you tell us what type of upbringing he had?
Okay. He had a very good upbringing. He loved animals. I never seen him fight anybody.
Okay.
He was a good kid.
He was a good kid.
I was separated when I was 7, 8 years old. Lived, I used to spend weekdays with my mother and the weekends with my pop. I started getting in trouble when I was about 9. Kind of like got addicted to that lifestyle and went from juvenile to boys' school, from boys' school to jail, from jail to prison. Messing around, just doing dumb shit for about 5.5 years, and then after 5.5 years, I embarked upon, some self-education, self-discovery, and, politicalization. We got political science, we started educating ourselves, reading about our history, our culture, and all the isms. And
right.
it was in that context, after I developed that mindset, that I got transferred to Cole in 87.
When the riot took place in 85, shortly after that, his sentence got extended for decades. Yeah. When that happened, can you tell me what the impact to the family was like?
It was kind of devastating. When we found out that that they gave him a longer sentence, I think at that time he had already lost his brother first.
Oh boy.
I think, and then he lost his mom. And it was devastating, I always said that I would never change my phone number.
Right.
So he'll always have somebody to call.
Yes, ma'am.
And to this day, my phone number is still the same.
I grew up in a household of 4 brothers and 3 sisters. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was a God-fearing woman.
How did that abuse affect you?
That abuse affected me because I was the overprotective big brother. I was the defender. I was the one that would protect my mom from my father's violent attacks. I was the one that would protect my little brothers from his physical abuse. I was the fighter in the family, so I've always had this mentality of being protective of people.
He stood for something that a lot of people don't stand for, and that's being fair. He's been like that ever since before he even entered the institution. He always been like that. No matter what an individual's doing, no matter who you are or whatever, you have to be done fair.
I wouldn't say he got in trouble. Trouble came to him. He went to
you know, he tried to escape it a little bit. He went to the National Guard, to the Army,
Right.
and enlisted to the Army, went to the Army, but he in the Army had that same type of mentality that he did on the outside. At least for African Americans, the way the drill sergeant treats you and talk to you and get up in your face and stuff like that. He wasn't, he thought that maybe going to the Army that will maybe give him a different course and a different outlook on life, but it really gave him the same outlook that he had when he was out here in the streets.
I came out the military, I was working, I ended up catching a petty theft case. I was working at a private supermarket and, you know, stupid stuff. We make stupid decisions. I was loading stuff off the dock to my friends and got caught up in a sting operation. I didn't feel I was hurting no one, but it was wrong nonetheless. I took responsibility, pled guilty to it, received a 4-year sentence. I'm like, hold it, wait a minute. How does a young man that served his country, that's a military vet, that's never been locked up for a felon in a day in his life, receive 4 years, the maximum sentence for petty theft? And this is the reality. Had I been a white person, I would have never seen the inside of a prison with a petty theft case first offense.
His time that he had spent in there, he realized, if I don't stand up and I leave, this will still be going on. So he actually put his life into that. But at the time, he did what he had to do.
I was serving a 4-year sentence with just 3 months left before my time was up to return back to society. I was put in a position either go home in 3 months or save the life of a fellow human being. I chose to save the life of a fellow human being because it was morally the right thing to do.
Another brother that I would always hear about, named Lokmar. I would always hear about him. He's well known. He's one of the leader type brothers. And always trying to do something progressive. Educating. His name, man, it always rang on the positive level. Or leadership type level.
Yeah, Lokmar.
Man, Lokmar was like a professor, a scholar. Man, the coldest man, out of all the cats I've met since I've been incarcerated, Lokmar was probably preeminent, the #1 dude. He had a hell of a mind, man.
Wow.
And when it came to this law, he got about 37 dudes out there. The thing was, he didn't want nothing in return. He kept on getting nothing out.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a rare brother, man.
Yes, sir.
Good brother.
What rehabilitated me was another prisoner. In the time out, to listen to me. You say, hey, you need to read this right here. Well, the first piece I ever read was the articles of Malcolm X. Malcolm was able to change his life. But it took somebody to give him that book, to listen to him, not just dismiss his struggle. And that person that actually gave me that book was Lincoln Love. He was one of the first people I met when I came to prison.
And the inmate that was actually beaten, that got beaten, was a good friend of Chris. They was great friends. Great friends.
Okay.
And Chris' mentality and way of thinking, and when he got into it with others, the way of thinking was, that's Chris right there.
Uh-oh.
Want me to go ahead?
Yeah, take it.
What happened that day was they had a disturbance on the lockup unit where they didn't allow the inmates to have their recreation. So the inmates they asked the know, and so they wouldn't allow them to speak to someone, so they got to, you know, they're trying to get someone down here. Hey, tell them why y'all won't give us our recreation, you know. But now they want to use this as an opportunity now to come in on certain individuals that they had on their list. Lincoln Love was one of those individuals that had previously got into an altercation with one of their clans.
The next day I go see him as the advocate because I'm a representative, you know, and they said, no, you can't come in.
They said?
No, because they had an incident last night and they had to shake down the whole unit. Big R's down there at the time.
Big R was there?
He's down there. He's down there in that lockup unit.
They shook us down 3 or 4 times that day.
For security reasons, they always would use that. Safety and security of the institution.
Right.
This is a totally segregated unit, you know.
Right. So it's no threat nowhere.
You're behind 2 doors, 3 doors, you know. So, but you knew what that meant, shakedown time. That's coming up in it.
And we kind of found this odd that we had got shook down this many times in, let's say, maybe 4 or 5 hour time. But we didn't have nothing. Underwear, shower shoes, maybe a t-shirt.
So it was unreasonable for them to even go in a cell
man,
a second, third time looking for anything anyway.
I mean, think about it. If you limited, what are you looking for? You know, we didn't been over and squatted. You know what I mean? You're coughing when you bend down. You know what I mean? You know, you can't even hide nothing. You see what I'm saying? So, man, you know, then it became obvious. Oh, this is harassment. This is targeting somebody. He was right across from me, Lincoln Love, Lokmar. Now, what I do know for sure, the particular sergeant that ran that unit was a sergeant named Sergeant Lane. Sergeant Lane wouldn't have let him come down there 3 or 4 times because Sergeant Lane wanted to try to keep peace on the unit. Sergeant Lane and this particular brother that they targeted, they had like a corps, prisoner guard corps. Sergeant Lane kind of respected his space and he kind of respected Sergeant Lane's space. So we noticed this particular day Sergeant Lane was off. So they trying to do all they dirt quick and in a hurry.
I was a lay advocate. That's somebody that, you know, represent other prisoners or inmates at the conduct of disciplinary board.
Yes, sir.
And so I was supposed to be down on that unit to represent a few of my comrades who had conduct reports filling against them for some disciplinary action that they got rolled up for.
Okay.
And so when I went down there to represent them this particular morning, the officers told me to get away from there, that they wasn't honoring no CAB passes that day.
Okay.
So I leave.
It's 3rd time they came down there in a matter of hours. They ride gear, you know, and this and that. Now they lined up outside Lokmar's cell. Now keep in mind, you done passed up 4 or 5 more cells, but you had Lokmar's cell. We in the middle. You got some more cells before you get to us. Why you lined up outside that brother's cell? As I seen him going to Lokmar's cell, he didn't see what I seen on the side of the wall. It was some more guards lined up. Sticks, shields, helmets, you know, ready to do battle. They lined up, man. They got, looked like guns and all type of stuff. They went in on the brother, had him subdued, had him handcuffed. And what really caused this riot this particular day, once he was handcuffed, one of the guards took the sticks and hit him in his head. Blood gashed out his head. I'm right there, I got tears in my eyes because I tell him, look, give me some of that, just to take them off of him. So one of the guards said, don't worry about it. Y'all got some of that coming. You know what I mean? He said it was 7. So I look over there, no blood gushing out of the brother's head, cuffed behind his back, man.
They beat him down into a pulse with a solid oak club. Once they beat him, they drug him out of his cell and then drug him down the range of the kill. He did the kill range for all the other prisoners to see. And everybody thought he was dead. They thought he was dead.
I'm witnessing it. I said, hey man, the dude is already handcuffed. Why y'all hit me with them sticks like that?
And he ain't even moving in this. I can see the inside his cell, he ain't even moving. I'm thinking they done killed him. Can you imagine getting hit in the head with them sticks? Blood gushing out, and while you cuffed behind your back, you can't even get up. I mean, it was devastating. I'm telling you, I'm giving y'all the watered down version. It was devastating.
As we sat there for a few minutes, listening to the disturbance, prisoners started to holler, "They're killing making love. They're killing me. They're killing me."
So a few of us hollered up to the front. Now the guys in the front came out in population. You know, that side, our side of the unit, you can see the kitchen and maybe another cell. How, hey man, somebody go tell, hey man, they trying to kill us down here.
And on that particular morning when I tried to go to that unit, because I was supposed to be representing somebody, I couldn't get through. They had the curtain pulled. And when they pulled the curtain symbolizes that they back there beating somebody. But as I was leaving, I heard the brother screaming out the window, go get Balagoon. And so another little brother named Kevin Mercy ran and got me and told me what had happened. So when he came and got me, I turned around and came back.
Once John Cole and them got the word of what's taking place, somewhere down that line, him and his brother named Cole Trotter met up. So now they coming trying to see what's going on in this particular unit.
Now, our first act wasn't to commit violence. It was to try to go to the administration and say, "Hey, y'all need to stop this." And so once we got there, they took on again a defensive position, and at that particular time, they still had the inmate handcuffed and shackled, making love in a back room, and they were beating him with a baseball bat.
I've seen about 25 to 30 of these people quarantine, white correctional guards that run back and forth from the Capitol to student unit, right?
Yeah.
I know you're on the real bad, so to speak.
When Officer Richardson and them being making love once, they said, "What do you want us to do with the inmate?" The officer talking to their superior. Their superior said, "Kill the son of a bitch." These are court documents. These are facts.
Right.
60 don't see that, brother. And all the other, COs start coming from everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about, I ain't never seen so many COs converge on so few people, right?
Right.
They were converging us.
Right.
I feel this about them. They had some heart, you know what I'm saying? They weren't scared, right?
And I think the only thing that really stopped them from coming in on us is over the radio, they heard that it was a riot, but they had to rush out the unit to kind of support whatever else was going on.
Now at this point, when we come to the defense of making love, which is the defense of a third person, now we're hunting. Now it's all about our survival.
So now we went from being on, the offensive to the defensive, right?
Right.
So we know that we can't let them take us alive because they're going to kill us,
Right.
We're already injured these COs, you know what I'm saying?
They're asking guards to shoot us, to kill us. One officer refused to do so. That was in the tower, refused to shoot us.
He was lacing us and trying to beat us with them clubs and in return, you know what I'm saying, we were, we was forced to, stab them. In the process of stabbing them, we was asking about this brother. Unbeknown to me, the superintendent that made his way to the infirmary, and he was in the room that they got Lincoln Lab at this particular time, treatment, doing x-rays and administer treatment. I don't know it. So I'm trying to open this door, but the door won't open. But mysteriously, the door wasn't locked. It wasn't locked. It was open, it just wasn't open for me.
Right.
And it's a good thing that it didn't open because the warden was there with a guard and he was armed with a shotgun. And we opened that door and gained entry to that room where they had Lokmar. it'll probably blew us away. By the grace of God, they're doing it with open.
Once they tried to get over there to their unit, them guards started locking down certain parts of the unit where they couldn't get back.
So because the door wasn't open, COs was coming from everywhere, and they kind of like corralled us in the front. Once they came through the back entrance and the front entrance. Now we're forced to fight our way up out of there.
Just imagine that. Imagine that. This was that environment at that particular time.
Once we got back out there on the compound, we ran towards the guard hall, and by the grace of God, I was able to get away, right? And once I get to the guard hall steps, I try to turn around and see that I'm locked out. So that's when we grabbed the guard, forced him to open the door and let me in.
Taking up a fair house, that's because we wanted to take over the fair house. It was to seek refuge. Because had they caught us right then and there, they would have killed us.
Then once we took over Jake's fair house, all the other prisoners, come out of their cell and, just fell in line.
I went to that phone and I called WTLC.
The radio station.
The radio station. I called WTLC and I'm telling them what's going on right now. And this is why it's going on. And they wouldn't believe me at first. And I just kept talking to them. I said, man, please come up here. Please come up here because they'll kill us if you don't. So I kept stressing that. And they said, okay, we're on our way. And I guess they notified other media too.
But see, if you think about it, these brothers, your Trotters, your Balagoon, was trying to shed some light. And it couldn't be from them, it had to be from the world. So the National Guards had to come in. This is the only way you're gonna get some attention on this. Because they're gonna keep everything in-house. You feel me? They're gonna keep it all in-house. But once you get the uprising, the ride, now you're bringing in outside forces. Somebody's gonna look into something. Hey, what took place up in here? What's really going on up in here?
There was unity amongst all prisoners to challenge the conditions. That they do away with the inhumane treatment of prisoners. That they provide health care. That they provide sensitivity training. That they hire more black staff. Pay raise increase. More recreation, better food. We want all, they were serving us pork practically every day. So we wanted, once that beef and other, turkey and stuff like that. And, we brought up all of that, right?
We had a document. I signed it, Coach signed it, Trotter signed it, Superintendent signed it, a major signed it, everybody kind of signed it, and it was like, okay, I think back, man, I was like, we kind of felt like, maybe we get something done. We even asked that the governor sign it. And so there was somebody like the governor, I don't know if the governor came or not, but somebody from the governor's office signed it, and this is supposed to be okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Okay, so you guys signed it, they signed it, what happens after that?
Okay, they said, they gotta let the hostage go. I said, well, that's what we agreed to, right? So I picked up the phone, and so I said, hey, everything was signed, let the hostages go. That's what happened, man.
We in that old share house for maybe 13, 14 and a half hours, right?
Yes.
And once they had promised us that no physical reprisals were going to be taken against us, if in the event that we let our hostage go, we released them unharmed.
Once this document that you guys drew up along with the administration, everybody read it, everybody revised it, had a chance to speak, terms are drawn, conclusions are made, everybody signs, everything's agreed on. You take them in good faith and at their word that these things will be addressed, and you guys live up to your role in these terms and release the hostages.
And during this time, let me point this out, man, them guards were never harmed. That was part of it too. we're gonna put them in a spot. Because you know, other inmates don't be thinking it like, you know, everybody ain't thinking in conjunction. Some of the inmates want to kill the guards.
We knew that if something would happen to them, that there would probably be a massacre inside the cell house. A lot of innocent lives would probably get taken. And then ultimately we would be responsible. So we couldn't let that happen.
But yet we felt it was our responsibility to put them in place and actually put some inmates around them. We put them in cells, but nobody can go in them cells. Nobody can, you know, go in there and mess with them. You know what I mean? Because there's people that want to do something to them guards, man.
And y'all kept them guys safe.
Safe, up in the corner, yeah, and had the inmates around them and made sure nobody else would mess with them.
Well, but that's how they work, bro.
That's how
they work, you know.
Yes, sir.
We asked for amnesty, but they weren't going to give us no amnesty, you know.
Right.
Yeah. We did that to survive.
Definitely.
We wasn't just doing that, you know what I'm saying, just to be doing it. You know, we had to do that to survive.
The Indiana Reformatory is an artificial environment that usually brings out the worst in a person placed therein. The overcrowding conditions that have captured federal court's attention are responsible in part for the stress. Attitudes of personnel, meaning guards, towards inmates tend to be abrasive in the extreme. One of the officers involved in the beating that set off the riot in this cause is now in federal prison for that beating. The Indiana Reformatory is sometimes likened to a jungle, and with reason. This is the state's pre-sentence investigator. These are not my words.
What we became aware of, they had their own, the guards had their own inside clique, so to speak.
It was discovered later that there was a group of officers who called themselves the Sons of Light.
Right. Yeah, we was fighting a hell of an injustice inside the belly of the beast. It came out later they were white supremacists.
White supremacists.
Yeah, it came out that they were white supremacists. And like I said, at that particular time, I didn't know, probably didn't even know a whole lot about white supremacists. You know what I mean? Didn't even know what we was really facing, to be totally honest.
There was a clandestine organization called the Sons of Light, which was the offspring of the Ku Klux Klan, and these were prison officials who openly displayed their hatred towards black prisoners.
Then, like I say, I think over the years, and the brothers went to trial in court, a lot of things started coming out. The officers started saying, well, I had orders from this one. No, that one over there told me to go in there, beat him up.
And people say, how do we know what was going on? We know because we've been subjected to it ourselves. I had been subjected to it. I had 5 guards come in my cell while I was shackled and handcuffed. And one of them choked me out and said, nigga, we'll kill you.
You know, they had a plantation mentality down there. Mm-hmm. When we got down there, you know, it was like, you know, going to Mississippi, you know, because they didn't have no qualms about calling you nigga. You know, out of all the staff and correctional or prison guards down there, I think it was only about 4 black officers. Everybody else was white. And they had been there for 20, 30 years. And so the mindset that they had towards us was straight from the 40s, 50s, and the 60s.
Like one day I was walking on the walks, and I happened to step off in the grass. And I heard a whistle. But I didn't pay no attention to the whistle. I thought a dog was supposed to answer that. I didn't answer it. So when the guard called up with me, I made it to the hospital, the infirmary. He said, did you hear me blowing that whistle? I said, I heard a whistle, but I didn't think you was blowing it for me. Well, you know, I don't know if you from around here, but when you hear that, as a matter of fact, you had stepped off. I said, yeah, I accidentally stepped off in the grass. I didn't know that, you know what I mean? I thought the grass was okay.
It was pretty much understood that when those officers roll your bars and they all suited up and booted up and they standing outside your cell, it's pretty understood that you about to get an ass whooping.
Severe one, yeah. Ain't no doubt about it. Sticks, man, these sticks were like big around, about 5 feet, about 4 or 5 feet tall.
And they come in beating you with that with two hands?
Automatically, automatically, that's automatic. And if they couldn't get it reached to you, they had the rubber bullets, like a gun. It is a gun, but it just shoot rubber bullets.
So when the Sons of Light are standing outside of your cell, you know that you about to be in for the fight of your life.
Right. And I look back at it now, and you'd be like, what else can I do but, fight back, man?
These were guards that were all part of the Sons of Light. The Sons of Light were so entrenched at the Indiana State Reformatory that was their liturgy. That was the orientation for new recruits, new guards. If they wasn't a part of the Sons of Light, they were basically ostracized, which was testified to by the one guard that was involved in the beating of Ricky Love, Michael Richardson.
Is it right? Though this world ain't what I hope for. Risk my life for shit I ain't got nothing to show for. Damn, this country leaving me no choice. I think they want me to be a dope boy. Damn, this country leaving me no choice. I think they want me to be a dope boy. Judge gave him 20 for the drugs in the street. Young Prince kept it together, but could tell it cut him deep. Looked the judge in his eyes, said I do that in my sleep. Judge said, well, here go 20 more to help you get back on your feet. Let's give moments of peace for those who dare to oppose police. They're focused on their pieces more than focused on the peace. Got my mama scared that you gon' choke me in the street. But ain't I just American as Mr. Toby Keith? I'm not oblivious, I know so many don't agree. But social engineering convinced you I'm your enemy. Souls deceased from the coca leaf. I sold
He confirmed everything that we said about the beatings and the brutalization. He had foreseen something like this happening a couple years before. And so he was one of the brave ones that went downstate and told them about how this organization, the Sons of Light, was singling out black inmates.
The Black Dragons as being a clandestine organization, that we were underground, just like they said the Black Panthers were. And they were able to publicize us in a revolutionary organization, but they didn't want to talk about the DOC in a white supremacy organization.
Later on that night, they had brought Lokmar in, but he was, still suffering from whatever beating he had got. As time went on, from there, we had a chance to, hey man, you all right, bro? How you, and he barely talking, man.
So it was definitely some type of change to his person from them.
He didn't hear them sticks.
And I remember, man, they just kind of go back to your cell. Everybody go to the cell, and it was quiet for days. They did not rush in there, and they did not do nothing. So we kind of felt like, you're sitting in the cell, and people hollering back and forth. Like, okay, things are gonna change, man. Because, immediately in Pelton or most other prisons, when something happened like that, they right behind it, with their guns and their, sticks and shields and mace.
After that happened, we all got transferred. From that unit, we got taken to Michigan City.
Next thing I know, I'm being shipped out. Cole's being shipped out. Trotter's being shipped out.
And you guys were kept in the hole.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. We only came out of that cell handcuffed and shackled for a shower once a day.
For how long?
I was down there 3.5 years, and they were there with me.
And then when the brothers went to trial, that's when some things started coming out. I think guards started telling on each other. Later on in the trial, it came out that they was talking. The brother Lincoln Love Lokmar had got into with one of the guards. I guess it was one of their brothers, so to speak, 2 or 3 weeks previous. And this is why we found out we think he was targeted on the get back tip.
So actually, when they extracted Lincoln Love, oh, here's the opportunity now to retaliate.
The payback for a prior
Right, the payback
incident.
for a prior altercation that he had with one of their members.
They had orders to come down there and attack this brother, Lincoln Love. First time he give any refusal, or he don't want to do this, or he don't want to do that, going there on him.
And as a result of the riot, the FBI and stuff like that got involved in investigating our civil rights abuses. And investigating our civil rights abuses, they discovered that there was a lot of impropriety going on with the commissioner himself, Gordon Fulton. So he was guilty of ghost employment and stuff like that, and he ended up getting fired. The deputy commissioner got fired. But in the aftermath of them getting fired, me and Naeem got persecuted.
The jury, which was an all-white jury, I believe that's very important. All-white jury, handpicked out of Madison County, out of Elwood, Indiana, which most of the correctional officers were from Elwood, Indiana, and Elwood, Indiana has a history of Ku Klux Klan activity.
So the people who were on the jury were actually from the same community as the guards were, and they were all Caucasian.
Yes. And there's no question in my mind that they knew some of them. You know, one jury admitted that she did know them.
Right.
What happened was, the state was so big on us losing this case that they didn't give us a fair trial. Right. All the evidence that we had that would corroborate or substantiate our defense, they made sure that it never got before the jury.
It was political election where the judge fraternized with the all-white jury, where the judge denied every motion that we brought up and granted every motion that the state raised, where the judge denied every objection that we made. He granted every objection that the state made, where the judge openly fraternized with the jury.
Right.
The judge kept on ruling in their favor, and so we would only be allowed to make an offer of proof. That meant that these witnesses would be allowed to testify, but they wouldn't be allowed to testify with a jury present. Everything that they would testify to would be on record, but the jury would never hear it, right?
And please let me remind everybody, no one killed in the prison riot. At the same time we was convicted of charges, we were acquitted of charges. We were acquitted of every charge of attempted murder that involved any officer at the shooting of Lincoln Love. Why was that? It was only because our actions were actually justified.
And so all the people that were considered to be credible, the ones that worked for the DOC were correctional officers and employees and personnel and stuff like that.
Right.
All them people, they didn't let the jury hear them testify to corroborate our defense.
We cannot let Cole and Trotter be acquitted of these charges. What kind of message would it send to the DOC and the rest of the prison population? Yes.
Trotter ended up with 142 years. He only had 4. Mr. Cole ended up with 84 years.
At the end of the day, you have different stages of violence. You know, I like to call them the 4 stages of violence. You have your initial colonial assault. Then you have when people internalize that initial colonial assault, which is the 2nd stage. And then you have that 3rd stage where people become conscious. When we look at the Rodney King verdict and how people rebelled against that, they had become conscious aware. That's that 3rd stage of violence. And then your 4th stage is when the state again comes back and represses.
Life after that was hell. It was hell. They transferred me and my co-defendant, John Cole, down to the farm where they had this maximum security lockup unit. And then the next thing I know, they would have the East Squad in front of my cell. And they would say, "Lock up, Trotter. You know, come and cuff up." And I would say, "Cuff up for what?" When he said cuff up, I said, "I ain't do that." So once I would cuff up, they would open the cell door and rush me and throw me down and start to beat me with riot batons, beat my ankles, my groin area. And this went on almost twice a week.
How long did this go on, these type of beatings where your bones were broken? How long did this go on?
It went on until that one day I realized that, hey, they didn't care I didn't do nothing. And that was like almost 6 or 7 months until I started fighting back. When I realized that they didn't care if I did anything or not, they were going to run in that cell, I stopped cutting up, and I fought back. I used all my military training and fought back.
And I done had police tell me, I done had COs tell me once they got to know me, "Man, you ain't nothing like, I thought you was gonna be." He said, he said, before I started working here when I was being trained, they used to take and show us tapes of you, Miles Goodner, and your rappy Trotter, and they used to train us, showing us pictures and tapes of you guys, right? In other words, they was conditioning us to hate you before we even met you.
When you lock up who's who, it was designed to suppress, any political activism that was taking place throughout the state. They wanted to take control back of the prisons.
But when we got down at MCC, that's how they was playing us. We come out our cell, we had to come out, with leg shackles on, handcuffs on. They made us kneel down to get our shackles and shit on, right? And then they, when they escorted us from our cell to the rec area, there was 2 police escorting us, One held a handcuff, while the other one had a baton, with a piece of metal sticking out of it. So if in the event that, when they had any problem with it, he could poke us in our ribs and separate our ribs, And, you know, we was molested every day. You know, you couldn't come out without them shaking you down and, you know, going and shit, you know.
Yeah.
The only way we was able to tell the time of the day was by counting the meals that we got. Right?
MCC was one of the most torturous lockup units I ever been on in my life.
They would come back there with the extraction team and they would dog you out. They would put you in four-way restraints. The four-way restraints is being restrained where they lay you in a bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they shackle your hands, you know, both of your hands to the edge of the bed. And then at the same time, they shackle your ankles to, you know, to the bed where you can't do nothing but lay on your back, right? And you're held there.
They had hot and cold cells. You know, the cold cell where, you know, you didn't even have a blanket. And I'm talking about the cells were so cold that you would, you know, basically just sit up all night long and just shiver. You're on the borderline of hypothermia, you know?
Now, not only when they put you in forward restraints, they also take your clothes. And so you ain't got nothing but a t-shirt and underwear. And the temperatures are frigid. They deliberately, you know what I'm saying, make sure that there's no heat coming in there. They got that central cooling system turned up on high. And so you being restrained like that, and you only being permitted to have your underwear and a t-shirt and them frigid temperatures, it's paramount to torture.
Then they would move you to a hot cell. The cells would be so hot, you're constantly irritable. And so when people get irritable, you get agitated, you start to, you know, you're so hyped, you're so frustrated that you're going to get to howling and screaming. And so that's what they wanted to do. That's what they wanted. So they could come in now with their squads and punish you, strip everything out your cell, you know?
They were prepared to deal with us on the physical.
Right.
You know, like rebellions and always been recalcitrant prisoners, you know, who would, you know, go to war with the police, right? But in this particular setting, they was prepared to deal with us like that. So we knew we couldn't win those type of confrontations. Came up with this idea of, man, we're gonna starve our bodies. We're gonna go on a hunger strike.
We struggled around the torturous unit at MCC, got the attention of the federal government. They came and had new guidelines for MCC. Some of it lasted almost to 30 days.
Yeah.
Successful demonstrations I'd ever been a part of. We was demanding, you know, that the unit be shut down. You know, we demanded that the unit be shut down because it was, you know, it was inhumane the way in which they was treated.
You had prisoners that cut off, one of the prisoners cut his finger off.
Dudes actually cut their fingers off and put it in the mail and mailed it to the government.
Because of the type of torturous oppression that existed at that time, we had to go through those extremes in order to get any type of retention.
We went through that for about 3-4 years, man, until we got, you know, the CLU and Civil and Human Rights Organization. You know, we got Amnesty International to come down there and look at how we was being treated, and they wrote a hell of an expose on, you know, what was going on. You had cats, you know, that was losing their minds down there, start wiping feces and stuff all on their body and on their wall and cutting their wrists and shit. You know, it was a hard time. Once we got that lawsuit, they shut it down as part of a dissent decree settlement, right? You know, they shut the unit down as part of a dissent decree. with regards to the behavior modification aspect. Then they just turned it into a regular lockup unit. Yes, I did. This is what happened. At this particular time, you know, the ICLU was negotiating a settlement for us. This is what the chumps did. They had a dude named Richard Raples. He was head of the ICLU at that particular time. He made a deal with the DOC that if they settled the lawsuit that they had against them about MCC, that they wouldn't file suit about them, what they was doing to the prisoners down here. Well, they was fucking over dudes down here too. They made a deal and told them that if y'all settle with us about these issues that we have with y'all on how you were treating these prisoners down at MCC, we won't sue y'all about what you're doing to the prisoners down at Wabash at the SHU, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they, you know, for years, they went allowed to just prisoners down here Wabash on the SHU with no fear of worrying about the CLU to bring suit against them. Then after that, they moved us up to the SHU, right? And so, you know, now you dig what I'm saying, we got to go through this whole process again. You dig, and start filing suits about how we're being treated down here again.
On the SHU, it's a windowless cell where you locked in the cell 24 hours a day. Everywhere you go, you're on a dog leash, you know, and they train their officers on this SHU to be abusive. Their motto is, what happens in the SHU stays in the SHU. Some of the worstest things that I endured in the SHU was the sensory deprivation. It means that having the lights stay on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, not seeing the night sky. If you go outside in the wintertime, they would leave you out there in the bitter cold for 5 and 6 and 7 hours and won't let you in. If you went to take a shower, they would leave you confined in a little shower for 4 or 5 hours before they come back and get you out of it.
Oh my God.
You know, these were some of the tactics that they would use on the SHU.
I've maintained my sanity in other ways by reading. Now, I was reading about other people that went through similar experiences that I went through, and I drew strength from them. I read about what the brothers was going through down there in Philadelphia, Jamal. Cats was experiencing down there in Canada. Read about Bobby Sands over there in the island.
I wanted to maintain my sense of humanity, you know, at all costs. At all costs, I wanted to maintain my sense of humanity. You know, that's that inner God in us, you know, that allows us that no matter what you do to me, I'm not going to turn around and do it to you. Or I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of becoming that you want me to be.
Was we perfect type of prison? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, man, that everybody don't want to be shit on, so to speak. Excuse my language. Everybody don't want to be shit on. Or you don't want nobody peeing on you, telling you it's raining. It's the truth.
There's no other avenue to address your grievances. You know, violence is bound to happen. You know,
right?
You've done tried everything. You know, violence is bound to happen.
And for something harder for that to hit like that, the mentality of other inmates, it had to be something similar to Chris' mentality of the way he was thinking. That a lot of inmates was thinking that this is not acceptable. This shouldn't be happening. So you can't take over a penitentiary with 3 people.
Just like applied force. Doesn't give any type of relief from the dryness, and then all of a sudden you have a light of thunder hits. You got a force line. All it takes is a start.
But look at that, and that's the thing about it, man. I look back at it now. We were young, but you don't have no choice but to try to do something to do. You know, you want to stay alive. Okay, I'm a prisoner, and I'm in prison, but you want to stay alive.
I'll never forget it, bro. You know what I mean? Because like I say, I was there on the unit.
Right.
And all of us was kind of close-knit, you know, because that's all we had was each other. You know, can you imagine you already in the penitentiary, in prison, and then every little thing that goes on in prison, you got to fight through these guards, man, and then they got the ulterior motives themselves. You know, they don't want you to kind of stand upright and be the man you are. They want you to drop your head when they walk past. And just some of us just wasn't made like that, man.
How do you feel now about having to go through life so long without having him there?
Oh, empty. Sad. The only thing that bothers me about it is basically I don't understand why he is still there.
Right.
I mean, they can't give me a reason, you know, there's no reason he should still be in there.
Knowing everything you know now, being a wiser, older man, what would you want to say to John Cole and Chris Trotter if they were sitting right here in this room with us today?
Oh, man, you know what I would say is what I wanted to always say, thank you, brothers. I mean, thank you for standing up for me. You stood up for other people, but you made a sacrifice that, man, I couldn't make. I didn't make it that time, you know, but, you know, it was, I mean, man, it was spontaneous, but it was sincere. It was dependent not only on themselves, but other people. You know, I would hug them, man, you know. Yeah, I'm getting kind of emotional about that.
Yes, sir, bro.
That's some heavy stuff, man, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, on that particular day, I was 3.5 years from being parole, right?
Yes.
But I'm not thinking about that. All I'm thinking about is being a brother to a brother, right?
Yes.
If I would allow them to murder this brother and I did nothing, I wouldn't have been able to look myself in the mirror, bro.
Yes.
Ain't no way I can hold my head up, you know what I'm saying? Look myself in the mirror if I let them murder my brother. How can I say I love you and I let them murder you, right? And I was there to stop it.
All I did was sacrifice my life to do the right thing, to help someone. Just imagine if people would have helped George Floyd instead of just standing around videoing it with cameras.
he would be alive right today. Lincoln Love was alive that day because we stood up. So if I'm to be convicted for standing up and saving a person's life, he convict me. But I know it was the morally the right thing to do. So if they want to continue to be vindictive, then I will continue to fight. And I ask to fight with me.
They were close to being released, and they were placed in impossible circumstances that they felt that they had to respond to.